in fact, mirrors the V-shaped performance that the Indian cricket team delivered in Australia as well. After being shot out for 36 within an hour, they went on to win the series. So the resilience of the Indian economy is actually mirroring the resilience of the Indian cricket team as well. Is therefore dedicated to all the COVID warriors. It's about saving lives and livelihoods, about the V-shaped economic recovery, and the fact that in this year of adversity, when a once-in-a-century pandemic has hit us, India has really outweighed on the opportunities that this pandemic provides compared to the risks. That is also being shown in the cover. Keeping up with the times, and as they say, necessity is the mother of invention, this year's economic survey is being delivered in an e-book format, and the economic survey app has been launched to understand India's policy response. If these 500 people were working from home, as they indeed are, to infect those 500 people, it would take many days. 1 hour versus many days. 500 people that would infect actually would go and infect many more. This example displays the impact of network effects in the spread of a pandemic, the fact that the size of the population matters, the population density matters, and that is essentially the situation that India faced. And the first chapter in the economic survey in volume 1 is about India's policy response, saving lives and livelihoods amidst a once-in-a-century crisis. India's response was guided by research in epidemiology and economics. Prize-winning research by Lars Hansen and Tom Sargent, which I had the privilege of learning from both of them. Their research advocates that when faced with enormous uncertainty, policies must aim to minimize large losses. Now, faced with a pandemic, that large loss was loss of human lives. As it is said in the Mahabharata, Apadi pranaraksha hi dharmasya pratham ankuraha. Saving a life that is in jeopardy is the origin of dharma. And that is the principle that guided India's policy response. India recognized that GDP growth will come back, and it certainly has, but human lives will not. India's policy response also derived from the extensive research on epidemiology, especially that looked at the Spanish flu epidemic of 1918 to come up with its policy response. One of the key things that was pointed out was the need for the pandemic curve to be flattened, because that gives time for the health and the testing infrastructure to be ramped up. In particular, one of the key learnings from this research was that the pandemic spreads faster in higher and denser populations, and that the intensity of the lockdown matters most at the beginning of the pandemic. A 1 unit increase in the population density has far greater impact on the spread of the pandemic at the onset of that pandemic compared to later. And this is one of the key reasons, one of the key points of research that guided India's policy response.